Hi, I'm Julie. Welcome to HobbyMaker Tutorials. Today is part one of our fun fold series and we're going to make a swing card. The first part of making your swing card is to cut your cardstock down to size. So for the card that I've made, it is 5.5 inches by 7.5 inches. My scoreboard's got both a score and a trimmer, but you might want to bring a scoreboard in because you're going to need both at this point. So what we're going to do, on the 7.5 inch side, we're going to score it at 3.25 inches, and then I'm going to then score, turn it over, and then do the same again. So from the opposite end, I'm going to score down at 3.25 inches, which then gives me an inch panel in the centre. So then what we want to do is then we're going to cut into the cardstock to create our swing in the middle. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to rotate my cardstock now, so I'm working on the 5.5 inch side, and I'm going to come in to 1.5 inches, but what I want to do now is cut into that center section. So I'm also going to use this measurement of my scoring board too, so I know where to cut. So I'm going to come in at 1.75 inches, and then I'm going to go 3 inches along that section. Bring it into there. I'm going to stop at the score line. I'm just going to lift it over that score line, and then I'm going to go again. So there we go, and that's created that line there. So what I'm going to do is repeat that process from the opposite side. So again, I'm going to go in so that I'm on my 5.5 inch side again, and I've gone 1.5 inches. And this time you've got to remember to do it from the opposite side. 1/2 inch here, and then bring it over the top, then press down once you've got past your inch strip that's in the middle, and then I'm just going to slide my trimmer along there. So that's given me cuts in that section, and then I'm going to then rotate it, and I'm going to line it up, and then I'm just going to cut from the 2 points. So these boards are handy for this because you can line it, you can get your guide with your cut and then just slide along to the other point. I'm going to do that on this side too. And if it has missed slightly, you can always then just go in with your scissors and just pop it out if you need to, but you can see that's cut that perfectly. To create your fold then, you just need to go inwards on that section, and the same, go on your score line there. If I turn that around now, you'll see I've got that swing effect. And don't worry about sort of like your score line that you've got in the middle, because obviously we're going to mat and layer some cardstock over that, so you won't see any of your sort of workings. So what you want to do, easiest way I think to do this is give yourself a 1/4 inch border. So this time we will go 5.25 inches by 7.25 inches, and then we'll trim out the section that we need. So I'm just going to bring in my trimmer again, paper on there, and then draw around with a pencil so you've got your right section. Right, so I've chopped my 2 pieces in half, and then like I said, if you get yourself a pen or a pencil, if you just line up where you want it to be, flip over, and then just draw around, and you can see I've done that one there. So I've just quickly drawn around. So if we snip that out, I've done it on both pieces, then that is just an easy way to cut your mat and layer of your patterned paper. So I'll just trim those out. Good thing about using a glue as maybe to double-sided tape is you have a little bit of wiggle room, so you can check on the back then, just to make sure you're all lined up and you know sort of like you're in the right place then. And then you've got your basis of your card there. Just trimmed myself a couple of pieces of the reverse of this pattern paper, and then you could bring in some stamps if you wanted to. I've got some ephemera, so I'm going to use something to decorate the front of this. So when you're putting something down onto this middle section, you need to just make sure that there's nothing sticky overlapping, and also that you're sort of in line with this section, otherwise it's going to catch when you flip. So it just means then the area is all clear and nothing's going to get stuck to each other. Okay, so there we have our swing fold card. So that's how we make a swing fold card. Join me again for another fun fold in our series. Don't forget to like and subscribe our HobbyMaker Tutorial channel, and I'll see you again soon.